Thank you for joining us for I guess they're 2-minute drills again, Fred, right? In August, I told Fred, let's not call them 2-minute drills anymore. Let's call them previews and predictions, whatever. He agrees to it. Next thing I know, you're uploading the videos with 2-minute drills.
Drill. That's okay. What we've called it a lot of years. So whatever it is,
nothing like drills Tribune creativity
in 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, in 10 minutes. We'll try and get maybe half of that, okay, Freddie? The game we're talking about this week, and there's a lot to say, so maybe we will go 10 minutes after all. Bishop Amat, 1-1, hosting JSerra, another Trinity League team, another team from Orange County. Here we go, Fred. It looks like Bishop Amat's season's back on.
Yeah, well, last week, you had the first week against Mater Dei, and we were coming back asking ourselves, I think we knew we were going to find a better indication of what Bishop Amat was when they played Servite, because Mater Dei looks so great, and Mater Dei seems to be in that realm of the Centennials and the St. John Boscos this year. I think you could put those three on a level, and then let's say the next team's in Division One. Let's see who is going to fill out those 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th spots all the way down the line.
Was Amat in that 4th?
I don't know, but I think beating Servite, who looked good in their first week, was a really good win on the road. And look at their defense, how well they played. I mean, their defense for 4 quarters after what they did last week really shut that team down. And I think that's going to be Amat's MO. And they struggled a lot. They struggled a lot on offense. There were a lot of 3 and outs in that game.
One of their scores was a punt return,
One was a punt return, and then they got that clutch drive, I think, late. I think it was early 4th quarter, maybe, where they took the lead. And that may be all Amat has to do at grinding out games. Now, they got another game this week with another Trinity team, JSerra at home. Do you have the score from the JSerra game last week?
Yeah, I believe it was 28-27, something along those lines. I will tell you right now.
Yeah. But it looks like it's another one of those
28-27 in overtime.
Right. So I think
somebody screwed up.
I think Amat's in.
That was over Alamany.
Yeah. And Alamany was winning that game most of the way. And Alamany's another team we weren't sure how good they were going to be in the Mission. You look at the Mission League right now, where Amat's going to be playing in a couple of weeks. That looks to be kind of wide open, like you'd said in that first week.
Wide open's putting it nice, Fred.
Beginning of the season, we were starting to say, what's Amat's ceiling? 4-6, 3-7. I think you seriously have to start rethinking that. If they beat JSerra this week, and I think there's a good chance they can, they follow with St. Paul. Very good chance they go into the Mission League 3-1, starting with Loyola. I think you have to give Steve Haggerty and that coaching staff a lot of credit, because it's very hard to lose a game and get embarrassed on TV the way they did that game against Mater Dei, to go back to practice that next week, to go through your routine and get ready and go on the road against a team that I think a lot of people thought you were going to go in there, maybe give it a game, but get beat and start 0-2. Give them a lot of credit. That's that Amat pride that a lot of people talk about, and it showed up last week against Servite. Incredible way for them to come back. I didn't think they could do it. I think you got to give their staff a lot of credit for getting these guys ready.
I think you got to wonder exactly where the intersection is of how good Mater Dei was and how bad Servite is. And that's the big question right now.
Servite's terrible.
Well, see, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we don't know. Maybe that win goes on to be something special. I don't know. But one thing I do know is what's terrible is the Mission League this year. Outside of Chaminade, this league sucks compared to past years.
You're looking at some of those
flat out says, and I mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
That's why I said I wouldn't sell Amat's season as over. I said this last week because that league outside of Chaminade, Loyola stinks. Alamany you can have. Crosby's horrible.
And I think you're absolutely right. And I
Notre Dame, I don't know.
And I wanted a couple weeks to look and see how those teams did against some of these opponents. And who's to say Amat's
gonna keep getting better. That's one thing you're certain of. So, but again, where that puts you in Division One this year, as far as the playoffs are concerned, nobody knows. But this is a really good opportunity for Amat to be a decent, I wouldn't say good JSerra team. It was a team that opened with Sacramento and then played Alamany. Amat's going to be their toughest game of the season. They're maybe lucky to be 2-0 and not 1-1. Amat's a legit 1-1.
If they beat JSerra, can you say now they should be the favorite to win the Mission if they can go back to JSerra?
Chaminade is definitely the favorite, but I would say Amat would be the favorite to finish second. I don't know why Amat couldn't handle Loyola, Notre Dame, Crespi, Alamany. I think Amat, maybe those games are close.
Yeah.
Maybe Amat's just not good enough this year to blast anybody the way they did last year. But this team's going to get better. They found their quarterback. Like you said, the defense showed that it can play well.
Yeah.
These are a lot of guys that are getting their first varsity experience. There's going to be more ups and downs, Fred.
They're young.
Archuleta's
what, a sophomore?
Sophomore, yeah.
I mean, this team, I was looking at their roster and some of the guys who made impact. Outside from their defense, they have some strong guys on defense. But their playmakers on offense, they are young guys who are coming into their own, who are getting the taste of what this is like for the first time. And to survive that game last week, I mean, we've had our discussions about Bishop Amat. We've talked about other things off the field, whether it's the recruiting or what have you. What has been true to form is that they can coach them up with the best of them. They're going to take, you can talk about the way Amat does it or doesn't do it, but they coach those guys up. They have them ready to play. And, I really, really like their chances this week against JSerra.
Okay, so you're picking Amat this week? Yeah, so am I. I don't buy JSerra one bit, Fred. Maybe they'll get some points here and there. But if Amat takes another step forward, I actually think they're going to probably control this game.
I think you needed that win last week. I just think they're mojo. They're gonna step on the field with a lot of confidence. Coming off that win, you go back in front of your home crowd. You're not going to get punched in the face the way Modern Day punched you in the face. So your crowd's going to have a chance to get back into it. I really think that win last week set up the rest of their season.
I'm really wondering, Freddie, about the Trinity League this year. I'm really wondering about the Mission League this year. Obviously Mission Viejo is in its own separate league. They're D1. Yeah. That might be, team number 4 in D1. But after you get past Modern Day, St. John Bosco, Centennial, and Mission Viejo, D1's kind of a crapshoot unless I'm missing somebody. So I think Amat could fit right into that 5 to 12 through 16.
And that goes back to the argument. Are they still a Division I school? Yes, they are. They fit in that middle.
Well, if Servite is, Amat is.
The problem with a lot of these teams chasing those teams at the top, as I think they're going to be chasing those teams at the top for a while now. There is a big gap. They reload kind of differently because they do get transfers, and they have. I think that the players that they get. They're bringing them in a way that's they're attracting them differently than Bishop Amat and some of these other schools.
And let us not forget, Freddie, Amat swept Servite across all 3 levels, Frost, JV, and varsity. So great job by Amat to get back on track. Freddie's got Amat this week, so do I. This game's
I'm going to be at that game Friday night.
Freddie will be there. I don't know where you're parking. I don't know where you're standing.
I have a special spot right around the corner. People that I know. I got a driveway. I got a person.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't want you to give it away because I don't want the school to block that. Yeah. So there we go. Freddie will be out there on Friday night. So should you. Everyone should be rocking. This is an Orange County team, deep from Orange County, coming to the SGV. Let's show them their way out. Hopefully Amat takes care of business. Get out there to Kiefer on Friday night.